Well, few cities in Libya have seen fiercer fighting or more bloodshed, for that matter, than Misrata. CNN's Frederick Pleitgen is one of the few Western journalists to have found a way into the city, and what he witnessed there was simply terrifying. Fred joins us now from off the Libyan coast. Fred, describe for us some of what you saw.
I just got off the Libyan coast just a couple of minutes ago, really. We're heading out to sea again, and that's the reason why we're reporting now. It's basically for our own safety's sake. But the picture in Misrata is absolutely atrocious. We were on the front lines there where the anti-Gaddafi forces are fighting the pro-Gaddafi forces, which of course have far better weapons and ammunition than the anti-Gaddafi crowd, and they were absolutely shot up by the much better armed pro-Gaddafi forces. Within a couple of minutes, we heard tank fire inside the town, artillery fire onto the outskirts of town, coming sort of from the inside of the town area. In the time that we were on the ground, several people were killed there, and one of the things that is really, really bad on the ground there is the lack of medical attention that people who are wounded in the fighting can get. We visited one of the few hospitals that's actually still functioning in the town of Misrata on the rebel-controlled side of the town, and they're lacking everything from anesthetics to even space to do any sort of operations on people. There's people who are being treated in the hallways of the place. There's people who are being treated outside in the parking lot, and the emergency room, Aisha, is inside a tent outside the building as well. So a very, very dire situation in Misrata, Aisha.
Fred, as you describe these dire conditions, what about the civilian population? Were you able to speak to anyone?
Yes, we were able to speak to a lot of people, and a lot of people actually approached us and told us, first of all, obviously, that they were very grateful that we were covering the story. They were very grateful also for the airstrikes that have been going on from the coalition. There were a lot of people, however, who are very, very much afraid. I mean, we have to know that Misrata right now, the rebel-held part of it, is an enclave deep within Gaddafi-held territory. There are many people there who fear that if Gaddafi troops take over that place, many, many people will be killed. There's people who are crying, people who are displaced inside the city. There's about 6,000 to 8,000 foreign workers who are displaced around the port area there, who are getting almost no food, no water, except for the little that the people of Misrata have to spare. So there are a lot of people who are in a lot of despair, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who go up to us and say they believe they are going to win this battle. They believe that in the end, they will triumph over the Gaddafi regime. Now, it's not clear whether or not they're just telling us that, but it did seem as though there is at least a certain level of confidence among some people in that town, but also a lot of fear, a lot of despair, and really a lot of shortcomings that these people have to deal with at this point in time.
Yeah, Fred, and to that point, amidst all this bloodshed, for those that do get injured in the fighting, you described the scarce amenities at the hospitals. Are they able to get medical attention to those in need?
Well, no. I mean, they're able to get medical attention to the people that they can. The way that we saw one of the few functioning hospitals there in Misrata is that the doctors are basically working 24 hours a day. They're sleeping at the clinic, they're staying at the clinic, the entire medical staff is in the clinic. But of course, they're lacking a lot of essential things that they would have otherwise in peacetime. They say one of the big issues they have, for instance, is that people who get, for instance, a gunshot to the leg, in many cases now, they'll have to amputate that leg, where in better times they would have been able to save that person's limbs. People, in some cases, are dying because they can't get adequate medical attention. People who have wounds that are not life-threatening are having to wait a very long time to get medical attention. So, yeah, it is a very dire situation, and they literally cannot treat all the wounded who come into the hospital. Absolutely overwhelmed at this point in time. Of course, the boat that we went into Misrata on was bringing medical supplies to at least meet some of the needs that the medical staff in that area have. But it's certainly, by a very, very long stretch, it's enough. And there's wounded and severely wounded people coming into those facilities constantly, night and day, Aisha.